I'd just like to ask both of you about your kind of first response to this, just to the landscape itself, really, and is it reminiscent of anywhere else that you've worked or lived, or?
Well, we had an immediate attracted to it. It's fairly unique for me. I mean, I've never lived off an estuary before or done any kind of river living. You, Steve Barnes?
No, not really. I mean, I'm small boat fish. I live in Florida, so I am close to rivers, and the Gulf is there, but it's not the same as.
It's not a way of life.
No,
it's like, there's the recreational
yeah, there's
spot.
recreation.
It's not like what Graham's talking about.
These people live here. They live the sea. They live, I mean, this is it at one time was a fishing village. It was a fishing community that survived off of the industry that's no longer here, at least on that scale. So, yeah, I've never seen anything quite like that.
No. So ecologically and sociologically, it's just fascinating to us. And since we had the opportunity of Graham and Matsuko being fully embedded and invested in this community, where we really had insider information we could work with, and and access to an extreme amount of local knowledge, you're gonna take that valuable. I mean, that's like a true resource and asset that doesn't come your way every day. And when you see an opportunity like that, you go with it. And as Graham was describing, so not only do we have that kind of professional layer, but we had this other layer of a very close relationship for these two over a long time in a series of projects that had gone really well. So it seemed like the right place to be.
Can I ask you to describe exactly what the projects are that you're working on?
The one that we're doing now.
Yeah. The estuary connected projects.
Well, it's just one. It's just, believe me, this boat is like all one person, one team of people. Yeah, you're standing in it. Would ever want to handle. But, one of the things that is very apparent, even if you're a novice like me and Steve Barnes, when you get here, is the disappearance. The incredible amount of that disappeared. And when you start talking to people and having them tell stories, what they mostly tell you a story about is the disappeared, what used to be, what was happening, what's not around anymore. And it's a shame. And so it just seemed like, Graham's already kind of gathering these stories. It's like, why not put them together? And we had come off, Critical Art Ensemble, we had come off doing a series of projects. This might be the last one in the series, of doing anti-monuments, of how do you make a monument that, rather than creating a smooth ideological space in which all people are expected to feel and believe in the same way, how do you do one instead that accounts for difference and allows for the contradictions and conflict of history, and to let all those different voices speak out? And so that was kind of the project we wanted to make, and because the voices are all different here, man. This it might be a community, but there's not unity of story. The stories do not all go together. There are vastly different interpretations of what's going on, and it's how do you accommodate all those interpretations? And
please tell me.
Well, we're collecting them up. We're collecting them up, and they will be inscribed into this boat. And we wanted to do the opposite of the general monument, in which normally you start with a big chunk of stone and you go, this is going to last forever. And we're going the exact opposite. It's like, let's use some really precarious material and object that's going to come apart, just like our memories, and to try and align it with real subjective memory, which is fragile and disappears and doesn't and changes over time. And that's what this boat will do once we reinscribe it with these stories and then put it back out on the marsh. It'll, instead of being an oppressive, giant stone to bother people for the next 1,000 years, it'll be an ever-changing series of narratives that will decompose over time.
It's making me think of, Rachel Whiteread's house project and how that was built, as a kind of absence and a memory of a space, and then it became hugely popular, and then there was great controversy around the demolishing of the work. And I just wonder, I can imagine this also becoming hugely popular and the council wanting to save it and preserve it and fix it somehow. What do you feel about if that happened?
That would be bad.
Yes, exactly.
That would ruin the work.
So the whole point of it is that it.
Yeah, the whole point is that it's going to evolve and change over time. That it's not going to be a fixed object. It's going to be like memory. It's going to evolve. And evolve in a certain way, that these things will work, and the physical object and the ideation of it will work in parallel. So if you go and all of a sudden they make some custodial plan, it would ruin it, because then it would turn it into exactly what we don't want it to be. It would turn into the singularity of perspective that would ruin it in every sense. Ruin it in terms of process, ruin it as an object, and ruin it as an idea. I wouldn't like it.
No, it would be far better that the young people of Essex go out there and burn it.
Yeah, that would be great.
Much more fitting.
Yeah.
Than the council trying to preserve it.
Yeah. No, I can imagine it happening. But
the burning?
No, not the burning. Not the burning.